Okay. Poll question is in effect. I did add a third option. Regina will not be attending this morning. So, Regina, if you are watching this on the replay, there was a third option. I went ahead and foregoed the typing situation that I have because you can't put the poll question in ahead of time. Good morning, Kevin. Okay. Let me get my notes. There we go. I was on the wrong page. All right. Let's get this party started. I have been up since 1:27 this morning. So, needless to say, I see a nap. I'm going to exercise one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and I'm going to take a nap later today. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, and I teach adults how to hold themselves personally accountable to become their best. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today is day 3 and the final day of discussing negativity bias. Today, we will be talking about how to overcome that bias. Before we get started, go ahead on your own. Inhale and exhale 3 times just to quiet the mind and be prepared for what you are about to learn. There is a poll question available for you today, and as I mentioned, I did put a third answer down there so that we can discuss it. And I went ahead and just said, okay, let me just go ahead and type it. It's going to be okay if people see me typing the poll question. Part of that is because I have 5 communication certifications, and you get dinged or got dinged for every little thing that didn't match whatever it was that you were speaking about. So this is our final day of negativity bias. And how do you overcome it? And so there are 4 suggestions. This information is coming from Very Well Mind. Again, all this information is informative. Choose to use or take away whatever it is that you feel is necessary for you. I am not a medical healthcare provider. Seek any medical advice from your primary care physician or your psychotherapist, psychoanalysis, counselor, therapist, whomever that is. Got to put that out there. Okay, so how do you overcome negativity bias? There are steps that you can take to change your thinking and to fight the tendency towards negative thinking. Also, today's Real Leader Brain is also about think positive because that is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and that will be available after the live is recorded. I just didn't upload it, and I'm working on how I'm going to do that because I have the same shirt on, so it gets a little confusing when it's time to upload. Okay, so number 1, stop negative self-talk. Start paying attention to the type of thoughts that run through your mind. So start paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind. Now, if you're focused on getting something done, 9 times out of 10, you're not thinking negatively, but it's in that idle time. And there's that quote, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And what happens is it is in that lull time that these thoughts can come and creep into your mind. So pay attention to what you're paying attention to. If you find yourself thinking negatively, stop those thoughts whenever they begin. Now, that's easier said than done. So there are several things that you can do to stop those thoughts. I have the snap method where I put a rubber band on my non-dominant hand and I will pop the inside of the rubber band so that it hits the pulse and it will send a message to the brain and say, stop doing that shit. Don't do that. So the snap method works. Now, with the research that I currently have, I'm also saying if you are thinking negatively and it's a false positive, you are in your amygdala. So what you can do is say, get back in your frontal lobe. That will stop the brain from doing what it is naturally programmed to do from thousands of years, and you will then get back into your frontal lobe. These are my suggestions, not from Very Well Mind, but I'll go back to the notes from them. Instead of fixating on past mistakes that you cannot change, consider what you learned and how you might apply them in the future. So if you are sitting somewhere and you are thinking about past mistakes that you made, good morning, Lola. There is no intrinsic value to doing that. Stop it. Get the lesson and move on. Mistakes teach you what not to do so you can learn from them and you can move on. Now, when you are doing anything, you have a strategy for it, and the strategy didn't work out as planned, you're just updating the strategy. And you can say, okay, well, steps 1 and 3 worked, but step 2, man, that went left. Let me adjust step 2. That's why I always say don't do anything without a strategy, so that you are now not feeling bad personally. You are not taking it personally. You are saying, my strategy isn't as sound as I anticipated, so let me go and make some adjustments to my strategy. That also keeps you in the executive function of your brain. So to stop the negative self-talk, you're going to tell yourself, this is a false positive. Get back into the executive function. You're going to do everything with the strategy. And when things begin to go left in that strategy, you're going to stop, review what part isn't working in the strategy, and then update the strategy. As soon as you hear that negative thinking, stop it. Snap it with a rubber band or say that's a false positive. And then if you're doing something and it didn't go as well as you thought or anticipated from the strategy, now you're just updating the strategy, and that should eliminate the negative self-talk. The next one is to reframe the situation. How you talk to yourself about events, experiences, and people plays a large role in shaping how you interpret events. So when you find yourself interpreting something in a negative way, or only focusing on the bad aspects of that situation, look for ways to reframe the events in a more positive light. I would use my divorce as an example. So now, while my marriage did not go well, I did get a bonus, which is my daughter. And I tell people all the time, I lost 145 pounds in one day. And they say, really, what did you do? And I say, I got divorced, because that's how much my ex husband weighed at the time of our divorce. So you can actually reframe the situation. I can say I had a terrible time for almost a decade at Frito-Lay, or I can say I learned how to take raw materials, turn them into finished goods, and sell them in the marketplace. I learned everything I needed to learn from a Fortune 500 company, from supply chain, upstream and downstream, how to run manufacturing, how to run warehousing, how to run a traffic center, and also sales ops, which you are in the same building with sales. So I would have never gathered any of that information had I not gotten out of the military and taken a job at Frito-Lay. So I understand everything there is to do about running an organization at that level. I also would have never had to manage 43 facilities on my own. I wouldn't have had access to $20 million in an annual budget. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to run 5 P&Ls. I wouldn't have had 300 vehicles, 120 drivers, and to do all these amazing things. I wouldn't have 2 of my certifications that I have from a training perspective were it not for that. So were there days when it sucked? Yes. Did I need the Birmingham police to escort me to my car for 30 days because I fired 4 people and they said they were going to kill me? Absolutely. All of those things took place as well. But when I look back, and all of the totality of the things that I learned, they outweigh the things that were negative. Most days I feel that way. Yesterday, not so much. But most days I'm like, yeah, okay. But look at how much information I actually garnered from that experience. So reframing actually allows you to be objective about what took place and take the good with the bad, take the lessons, leave the rest, and grow forward in your life. When you so this doesn't mean ignoring potentially dangers or wearing rose-colored glasses. It simply means refocusing so that you can give it a fair and equitable opportunity for growth and development. So give me one, let me make sure. Yes. So right now, give me a situation where you had to reframe what actually took place. In your experience, something took place and you reframed it in order for you to take the good. Yes, that is correct. That is what you were saying, Nola, yesterday. So for everybody that's here this morning, give an example of you reframing a situation from negative to positive, or basically going from your amygdala to your frontal lobe. Me and you. And remember that if you're typing dot dot dot, so I know that you're typing. Good morning, the one and only Nicole. What brings you to my morning mental workout this morning? And then for the normal people who are here daily, if that was your comment, this message was review. Okay, you can do the summation, Kevin. Give us the executive summary. I know you know what that is. The one and only Nicole, what brings you to my live this morning? Okay, we'll keep passing then. 'And then for Nola and Kevin, and it's okay, we have time this morning. So Kevin, if you have to type it, you could just do short, however, whatever the character limit is in the comments. I don't know what it is on YouTube. So, because we're having open discussion this morning. Four votes for the poll question. That's cool. And if you are watching this on the replay, feel free to drop your response in the comments and I will come back. Bad relationship, wonderful son. See how you did that, Kevin? You summed it up in 4 words. That's awesome. Yes. And I also learned that I don't want to be a wife. I used to think I didn't really want to be one. Then I became one. Then I was like, nah, that's not a job that I aspire to have. Like, I would never be a welder. It's just some jobs that I would never take. So when I have a hard project, my reframing my thinking is how many skills I have garnered from the new experience. For example, yes, the industrial strength sewing machine that we had to put together yesterday. Yes. So I think it's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that the one Nicole's message was retracted on that person's own. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. So reframing the situation, and we're going to talk about reality distortion momentarily, but I just want to continue on with the lesson. So number 3 is establish new patterns. So when you find yourself ruminating on things, look for an uplifting activity to pull yourself out of this negative mindset. For example, if you find yourself mentally reviewing some unpleasant event or outcome, consciously try to redirect your attention elsewhere and engage in an activity that brings you joy. Yes, hand clap of praise. Only God can do it. Woo! Only God can do it. Only God. Okay. Anyway. Anyway, the point is this. So if you have an unpleasant thing that you're experiencing, redirect your attention elsewhere. So in this instance, with the one and only Nicole attempting to come and disrupt our peaceful environment this morning, I redirected that energy to see why that person had decided to come into our lives momentarily and didn't have to have any other things that I needed to do. So redirect it when something is happening. And I had to go into my AOL account this morning. And AOL, I know I still have AOL from 1996, but AOL homepage has all the news. And there was something about what 47 was doing. And I, for a moment, looked at it, and then I redirected it and went ahead and looked at the email that I needed to look at this morning, and I continued on. So have new patterns, because remember from yesterday and the day before, we are wired to look for the negativity, because initially it started as, hey, protect yourself. This is what you got to do. So be on the lookout for saber-toothed tigers. And now it has just turned into, if it's negative, believe it and absorb it like a sponge. And then every now and then you can sprinkle a little positive sprinkles on top of that shit show called negativity bias. And so you are taking thousands of years in your life and getting rid of, it's actually a humanity curse and not just a generational curse from your own family, but as a whole, it's what we're passing down to one another. And if y'all are getting kicked off, let me know, because I see the numbers jumping up, going back, jumping up, going back. So I want to ask you, what are some things currently that bring you joy? So if you know what those joyful things are, when something negative occurs, you can go straight to your joy toolkit and start pulling it out to make sure that it is readily available. So what are some of the things that you that bring you joy? Got it. Thank you, Nola. So I, first of all, enjoy a nap. I have loved naps since nap time in school, in preschool. I am a napper. So if I can get a nap in, I am happy. If I can watch something and it's a crime show and I watch it and at the beginning, I'm like, that's the person that did it. That's the person that committed the crime. I'm going to get to the end. Yes. And now it's back to 10. I'm going to get to the end to see if I was right. I'm going to read. And Noah says that nobody else in the world wants to read the books that I read. Sometimes I don't want to read those books, but for the most part, I will read. I will also create graphics, and I will have a snack. So, for example, this morning, I got some almonds, I got some coffee. Here's half of my boiled egg that I still need to eat. And so I will give myself a treat as well. And for me, learning something is something that I enjoy. So as we saw when I first started doing the live, and I saw that there was poll questions and Q&A. So me getting to do something, and especially if I'm creating a piece of content and I do what's called app smashing. My daughter learned this when she was in middle school. If I can take something and get that jump cut just right and go bam, and the music is just right and it fades out, oh my goodness, I am happy, 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 happy. Like they used to, I forgot what happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. What song was that? Was that Ren? That's not Ren and Stimpy. No, if you remember whose song that was, let me know. So winemaking. Yes, and Nola, what brings you joy? Here we go. Food. Eating sometimes. I have a long day, and the only time I get to have relaxation is to have a good meal. So mealtime is my favorite joy time of the day. You also like the catch and clean and cooks and things like that, hunting and all of that. We went to Bass Pro Shop for the first time, and she was in heaven. That's the Mississippi side of her coming out. So she's city sippy. Okay, and then the fourth one is to savor positive moments because it takes more for positive experiencing. Good morning, Jeffrey. What brings you here this morning? Good morning, Jeffrey. What brings you here this morning? Good morning, Jeffrey. What brings you here this morning? Top of the morning to you, mate. That last thing you said got deleted, Jeffrey. What brings you here? Yes, you do watch all of the sports stuff because you like to get that information as well. So see, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Jeffrey is having an amygdala moment, and he is attempting to hijack this live and hijack our amygdalas because of all the things that are taking place in his life. And now he had a bunch of choices this morning, and he chose to do this morning. So as we can see, Jeffrey woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning next to the wrong person. And this is his outlet. So these are raw almonds from Sprouts. Eat a couple a day. Pretty good. Just a handful. Actually curbs your appetite too, for those of you trying to lose weight. I also drink room temperature water because it's easier to digest. Just purified water. No, I don't like the spring water. It upsets my stomach. They bring me joy as well. So you savor the positive moments. Okay. Because it takes more from positive, it takes more for your positive. So Jeffrey, um, why are you here this morning? Because you haven't answered the original question. So you come here, what appears to be with some negative energy. So what is it? Why are you here this morning, Jeffrey? Why are you here? Okay. Wow. That's unfortunate for you, Jeffrey, that that's all taking place for you at night, for you. Okay. Okay. Did you get it out your system yet, Jeffrey? Are you finished? Is it out of your system? Is it out? Is this what you need to do to bring you joy before you go to sleep? Because it's night where you're located, so you must be across the pond. Is it out yet? Are you finished with your misdirection? Or are you going to double down? You are getting blocked. I just want to know what it is that you're going to do next. You will not see my page, my channel again. Is it out of your system? You could also try melatonin. That actually gets the GABAs down and it calms you down from whatever terrible day that you had. And so this is actually giving you endorphins and dopamine, which is going to amp you up. And as a result, you're not going to have a restful night's sleep. Jeffrey, you do realize that nothing you're doing is working, right? You do realize that that's not what's happening here. So this is misdirected. Okay. Perhaps you should seek medical attention for that. You actually do care. You actually do care. And at one point, you cared a lot. And then someone hurt you. And now you can't get past that. And so now you have decided that you're going to come and do mean things to other people. Because hurt people hurt people. So you're about to get blocked. And so my suggestion is that you actually go and take this negative energy and give it back to the people who gave it to you. Because we didn't do anything to you over here and we're not receptive to it. It's not working. You're looking for a fight, but you're not going to find one here. You're not. And you actually want to be blocked so then you will feel better. So then it's almost like this is cutting yourself. It's almost, no, we cannot move on with the lesson. You just got here. This is my live. If you don't like it, you can leave too. But this is the lesson. So you'll just keep doing this. And then, and what is the objective? What is your objective this morning, Jeffrey? What is the objective of this? How did I get so lucky to have you on my live stream this morning? What is it that you hope to accomplish with your antics this morning? Nothing. We have someone who is actually contributing to negativity bias. They're the example this morning. That's what's taking place. We have someone who's had a hijacked amygdala. Okay, for fun. Are you having fun? Are you having fun? Have you had enough fun yet? Okay. Got it. So have fun is actually one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It is. It actually is. So here's what I will say to you, Jeffrey, before you go. Deal with what's actually taking place in your real life, and then you won't have to come and look for fun by disrupting other people's lives. That's not what's going to change. What's happening for you is disinhibition effect, because you are a weakling in your actual physical life. So you do this with your J, so no one knows what you look like, because you actually don't have confidence in yourself and who you are. And whomever hurt you, you need to go back and address them, because this is not for you. It's not for you, okay? So believing that you've come on my live and you've done something to disrupt me, you have failed. This is an L. So take the loss this morning, and when you go to sleep tonight, just know that you are L is for loser, because you lost on this one. You chose the wrong live, okay? You were ineffective. Get a new strategy, work on it, dust it off, and attempt to do it on someone else's live, because you won't be back here. You were very much ineffective, okay? So fix you first. Fix you first. Thank you for being the example of what not to do when you come on this live, okay? You have an amazing rest of your day, because you are definitely gone. Okay, so getting back, savor positive moments. Because it takes more for positive experiences to be remembered, it is important to give extra attention to the good things that happen. So what we're going to do is pay attention to the good things that happened on the live. And the good things that happened are, we have people here willing and ready to learn. We also had a person who demonstrated negativity bias to the point where they actually admitted what they were attempting to do. And that's the cop in me. I'm going to be able to get the truth out of you so that it's there for everyone else to see. Now, if we were in person, that person would have never been able to admit exactly what they were actually doing. But because it's here and it's just typing and we can't see them and you can only see me, I got the truth out of what was taking place in that person's life. So that person is sitting up at night and something isn't going well for them. So they decided, instead of resting and going to sleep, that they were going to get up on the internet and wreak havoc on other people's lives. That person said, I cannot sleep. So instead of seeking medical attention and understanding what's keeping them up at night, and it's all the things that are happening during the day, they chose to be disruptive. And the saying is true, hurt people. But that didn't bode well over here, because we are all in our frontal lobe. And everybody that is learning understood he's having an amygdala moment and attempting to hijack my amygdala, because I'm the person that he can see, and that person was ineffective. So the good news is, when you stay in the executive function of your brain in your frontal lobe, you are able to understand negativity bias and do something about it, which is to remain calm and have self-control and good judgment and remain in active thought. So that's how I choose to see that situation. Now, excuse me. Where negative things might be quickly transferred and stored in your long-term memory, you need to make more of an effort to get the same effect from happy moments. So when something great is taking place, you need to put that in your long-term memory. And what happens in the hippocampus, because that's where long-term memories are stored, when you have enough positive positive memories that you keep storing, you're going to push all that negativity out of the hippocampus, because the hippocampus, if you haven't used it, it throws it away and takes in new information. Okay, so when something great happens, take a moment to really focus on it and get it into your mind. Pay attention to that and store that. Discard all of the negative, especially when they're false positives. Get rid of all of them and replace them with all of these new amazing experiences. Okay, now what do we have? Kevin. These are our real life examples we discuss while in sessions. We don't do textbook scenarios. What kind of questions do you answer? Thank you for clarifying, Kevin. Himsha, God, I don't understand your question. If you could rephrase it, I'm not quite sure. And thank you, Kevin, for clarifying that. So what are you going to do? You're going to replay the moment several times in your memory and focus on the wonderful feelings that the memories invoke. That's what you're going to do. So, in summary, in order for you to overcome negativity bias, number one, you're going to stop the negative self talk. Number two, you're going to reframe the situation. Number three, establish new patterns. And number four, savor those positive moments. And the beauty of all of this is that one of the 74 principles of real leadership is to think positive. And that's why the real leader brain today is to think positive too, is to reaffirm all of that. Now, remember, I wrote my book in 2008. It was published in 2009. So we are now 16 years into having the 74 principles of real leadership. And think positive is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It's not think negative, it's think positive. Who knew way back then that I would be talking about this now? And now I'm saying in order for you to think positive, you have to stay in the frontal lobe. You will never think positive in a hijacked amygdala state because you've shut down access to the frontal lobe and now you're in a fight or flight and you're seeking safety and comfort. So you can't, and comfort is not positive. Comfort is away from harm and danger, but it's not positive because taking a risk and challenging yourself and embracing change can all be positive experiences. But if you're seeking comfort and safety, positive is not on the way. You just like, I just want to be away from this. I just want to be away. And so for the new people here, Jeffrey was making you all uncomfortable and you wanted me to move on. But you have people in your life that are creating negative biases for you, that are creating hijacked amygdala states. And that's why over here, I let it play out because you need to know how it feels and you need to look at me to know what to do when that is taking place. Jeffrey is the one that got upset. I didn't get upset because I'm not looking for a fight this morning. Because if I was, please believe you don't want me waking up looking for a fight because no one is safe. Okay. That's not who you do not want Dee Dee from the D showing up at any event because it's over for everybody. So I know I'm very much aware. It's like the Incredible Hulk, David Banner. Like, you don't want to make me angry because Lou Ferrigno is going to come out in some cut off shorts, turning green, and it'll be a mess for everybody. So that's why I stay in the executive function of my brain because it won't bode well for anybody at all. Those are the 74. That's think positive is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So now let's talk about this negativity bias. What was your most recent negative experience, thought, or experience? Let's discuss that. Even if it was on the live this morning with Jeffrey, what was your most recent negative thought or experience? Here's my lip balm hiding behind my water. Being lied to. Tracy, I 100% do not like being lied to. And the reason for that is because I tell people all the time, you took away my ability to choose. Establish trust and be trustworthy is one of the 74 principles of real leadership to combat being lied to. And my most recent negativity bias was with Jeffrey this morning. Thank you, Kevin. If you're thinking, please do ... so I know that you're thinking. That's the universal sign for buffering in the land of real leaders. Not a cop? Are you not a cop? Or is that not Aka? What is that? A coup? Not Aesop? No, that's not Aesop's fable. People's usernames are interesting. I scheduled this week to work at a trade show. The client didn't want me to bring my car, wouldn't pay for parking, and didn't tell us what we were building or what type of company it was. And so I canceled the appointment to protect my peace. It's for anonymity. Got it. Right. So we did cancel that appointment because that person was not establishing trust and being trustworthy. They were extremely unaccountable. And so we made the decision That, and plus it was going to be 6 other taskers, 6 other taskers there. We don't do joint task appointments anymore because the taskers are lazy. Yes, and have had a steady flow of appointments come in since Monday. And that's the whole reframe the situation, Nola. So what happened was you and I made that decision that was not going to be a good decision for either one of us. And then we reframed the situation. We actually got to go help another client. Her and her husband tried to put one of those concave, 3 of them, concave shower curtain rods up from Target. Couldn't put the first one up, so the son didn't have a curtain rod or a shower curtain. So because we canceled that on Monday, we were able to go over there and take care of them as well, and then do some other things for people that was much more value added that they needed. And then Kevin, we're just on yours. Let me make a highlight of that. Okay. The other thing that I'd like to discuss, because we're now in the open discussion portion too, is yesterday while I was at a very intense appointment with my daughter, yesterday I believe was the most challenging appointment we've had in a long time. And I said, and we have challenging appointments. The client booked us and said they needed a sewing table put together and that we didn't have to put together the sewing machine based upon what the friend told the client. We get there and it's an industrial sewing machine. And so if you look them up with the table to match. And so everything had to be put together. And so what we thought was going to be an hour 15 appointment was 4 hours to put that thing. Yes, it's the most technical project that she's ever had. And so, yeah, industrial sewing machine, not just the little swinger. You just, what you put it in and put it out. That thing, it took 4 hours. And the client was so grateful. The friend had told them that she put it together. It's no big deal. And we say, no way in the hell she put this together. And then the thing that made it so challenging was that it didn't come with manuals. It had QR codes. And the videos, one of the videos didn't have sound. The other one showed up on YouTube later. And the other 2 videos, the person English was not their primary language. But one of the videos didn't tell you exactly what you needed to do. So every time it got to a hard part, that part was missing. The parts weren't labeled. And so it was just extremely challenging. And it took so many tools to get it done. Putting in a spot, taking it away, putting in a spot and taking it away. It was extremely challenging to the point where I was a little snippy for about 3 hours after the appointment because my brain was like, I still can't describe the feeling. And it worked too. It is the most complicated thing that she has ever put together. And we put together pergolas and gazebos and all kind of things. We even had a robotics chair at a chiropractor's office. But that thing right there literally tried to take us out. Literally tried to take us out. So Kevin, you have my worker told me a project was complete, got there, and no professional effort was given. Well, I can imagine who showed up. I've seen some of your videos, so I can only imagine what actually took place. It did work well. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that was an interesting project. So we're getting ready to do work with we're not doing without looking it up. Today we're going to do use it in a sentence. I haven't done that since I was on TikTok. It's been months. So we're going to use it in a sentence. And so the word of the day today is a compound word. It's bode well. And I say it often. I say it a lot. I don't think I can go a week without saying it. So bode well means to be a sign of good things to come. That's what it means, to be a sign of good things to come. So you're going to use bode well in a sentence. It is a sign of good things to come. To be a sign of good things to come. Develop your own sentence for bode well. It's in my other notebook. Service. Right. Okay. So Well, your sentences are formed in the frontal lobe and the Broca area. And the reason why you want to do that is because it is improving your sentence structure, your memorization, and your communications. And communicate effectively is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Bode well, to be a sign of good things to come. Yes, that is a good sentence, Noah. Getting a F-150 wouldn't bode well for you as you are short and can operate vehicles to a certain size. That is definitely correct. Plus, I bought your daddy a Ford F-150, so we don't want no more. We don't want no more Ford F-150s for business purposes. Somebody calls your mama trauma. I just thought about that. Nope. It's going to be a Chevy or a Tacoma, a Toyota or a Ford Maverick. We could do that because they didn't make those back then. Okay, and as you're continuing to type, my sentence is personal accountability does bode well for adults globally. Personal accountability does bode well for adults. So you can say does not, it is shaped differently. You can say does not and then bode well, and that's usually how I use it. My worker did not perform at his best and future work doesn't bode well for him. And yes, and they used to call me the Terminator when I worked at Frito-Lay because I'm like, you out of here, buddy. You're out. You are out, out, out. That's what I'm saying. And keep your word, Kevin. Keep your word is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So when someone does not keep their word and they do not apologize when they are wrong, they do not have a job anymore. They do not. That's how it goes. Okay, get your writing utensils together because you're getting ready to do math. Woohoo! Gotta love it. Mathematicas. Doing order of operations. Again, that's to help with your working memory so you can pick the task that you need to do first. Priorities of work. All right, and Kevin, we just had a client who has a legal. The client is a lawyer, and she's got a new legal assistant, a paralegal, and the paralegal was just not having a good time. I mean, the paralegal is not the paralegal makes six figures, and is not the math ain't mathing on that. So I gave the lawyer some of my tactics for removing said employees and how to hire better employees because I used to have to do that as well, hire managers and hourly employees. All right, here we go with the math. We're going to be evaluating today. I will give the math problem to you twice. You will have uno momento, 1 Minuten to solve das Probleme. Okay, here we go. 3 plus 4 times, open parenthesis, 6 minus 3, close parenthesis, to the second power. 3 plus 4 times, open parenthesis, 6 minus 3, close parenthesis, to the second power. Yes, PEMDAS. 1 minute to solve the problem, starting now. "30 seconds has passed." "47 seconds has passed." and time. Okay, does anyone else have an answer? Okay, Mateo, the time for that has elapsed. If you come back tomorrow, bring your pen and paper. I say it twice, and then you have, but it's over now. So come back tomorrow and try again. Okay, so the answer is 39. That is correct, and kudos to Kevin and Nola for that process. Yes, so the time to ask was when I actually said it, and not after the fact. Okay. Getting ready to look at the poll results and discuss your answers. All right, the poll results are: be honest. Are you a positive thinker? We have 44% said yes, 33% said no, and 22% says depends on the situation. If you are still here, explain your answer. And my answer is it depends on the situation. For the most part, I am a positive thinker, but if it's attacking a fear, like a real fear, or something that just came up for me, then I will not think positively because it will be associated with some past negative experience. And that will cause me to then think that this particular situation, because remember, the amygdala, when something negative happens and it was against your safety or fight or flight, it will remember that. And if something similar shows up, it will remind you again, hey, that happened already. You need to go seek safety and comfort. This is a bad thing. So that's why I added the depends on the situation. So if I am not in a hijacked amygdala state from a past experience, then I can move forward. Real new fears don't really bother me. Although yesterday, that doggone sewing machine tried to take me out, but it wasn't mine to put together. So I did get a lot of work done. When we started the appointment, my phone was at 100%, and when we left, it was at 40%. Good morning. And so as a result of that, I'm saying it depends on the situation. Most situations, I can think positively all the way through it and get to the desired result. And part of that too is because I don't do anything without a strategy. So when things pop up, I'm able to implement the strategy. I am pretty good. Nola's response is I am pretty good at reality distortion. You stole my thunder because I'm getting ready to talk about that. So I said yes because that's my thought process the majority of the time. Even when stuff goes left, I attempt to see how it can still be good. That is correct. So I do actually have my post-it right here to discuss reality distortion. It's okay. We spend a lot of time, so sometimes we have the same thought. Okay. I see good and bad situations to learn the lessons, to teach the lessons. To me, it's easy. It's easy to think negative. It is because we are past experiences. So yes, because of the amygdala and past experiences, the brain automatically is hardwired to say that's that. See it right there. And we talked about that using that. And it's also called somatic markers. So you take things that appear to be a similar experience, the brain puts it together and says, oh, if A plus D is F, then that must mean that this is what this is. So that's why you have to verify it and ask yourself, is this a false positive? Is this actually true? Be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and it allows you to look at everything objectively. Now, what I do as well is a reality distortion, and this came from Steve Jobs long time ago in the 80s when he was still coming up, before he was Steve Jobs. And what took place was, I forgot which documentary it was, but they were talking about Steve Jobs, and it's reality distortion. And it's basically the refusal to accept limitations and challenges that come in the way or came in the way of his ideas, and to believe in himself that anything difficult can be overcome. And that's how we have so many of the things that we have, because he just refused. If he wanted something done, figure out how to make it happen. Make it smaller, make it thinner, make it pretty, make it aesthetically pleasing to the eye. And no matter what difficulties the engineers, the designers, the coders, whatever they had to do to make that thing work, he said it could be done. And they were stressed the hell out most of the time. But once it was finally finished, everybody felt a great sense of accomplishment because it did actually work. And so I'll use myself as an example. And I've told this story before. In February, March timeframe it was March and April 2018. Jiffy was just now starting out. Anytime you see a GIF in an app, you're either from Jiffy or I forgot the other app, but it was just getting popular. And so I found the benefits of Jiffy and I said, well, I need to use this because I was using the Jiffies, but I didn't like them. And I said, well, I bet you we can make our own. So I ended up getting it with not, very few followings, no check mark or anything. I got in the Jiffy AIP. What is it? No, it's not A. What is it? No, it's escaping me right now. So I'm in the Jiffy interface, which means I could be on Twitter or Instagram, and it was connected to all the other apps. API is what it is. And I did that in about an hour. So my first month in Jiffy, I had 100,000 views. And so I looked and said, well, who has successful Jiffy pages? And at that time, it was Barack Obama, the NFL, and Gary Vee. They all had a lot of pages and a lot of views and everything. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to beat Gary Vee because he was the closest person. I had none. He had a couple 100 million views. So I thought, well, let's see if I can beat him first. And so I made the goal. When we got to 100 million views, it took 7 months to do that. And so my daughter calls it Dr. Donna Math. She still doesn't understand how it worked. And I said, okay, well, if we're at 100 million, then we can get to a billion at the April 2019 mark. And she said, well, we're only at 100 million. That's 10 times it. Don't worry about it. It works. You just 10x it. We were at that point, we were making 7 Jiffies a day. I said, we just need to make 10 Jiffies a day for the next 5 months. And then we're going to be at a billion. And 3 days before the 1 year mark, we hit a billion. I think the page is at 16.6 billion now. Haven't really added anything. If you go to your phone or any of the apps, click on the GIF, Jiffy, and API. Yes, if you click on the GIF button and you type Dr. Donna in on your phone or any social media app or any gaming app, a bunch of my Jiffies are going to pop up because I have 4,500 of them. So there are all kind of stickers and actual Jiffies. Y'all call them GIFs or GIFs or GIFs. But that was reality distortion because I didn't have a large following. I don't have a check mark. I will never have a check mark. I am who I say I am. I don't need nobody to fucking verify me. But that was a big, huge thing to be able to do. And so last year I wanted to make sure I hit 10,000 YouTube videos. And so I had to do a lot efforted to make sure that I hit that goal. Right now I have 15,000 Instagram posts. And so these are just BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals that I have. And I have to use reality distortion to tell myself this is possible, especially from my phone, especially for me and everything else that I'm doing. So right now, give me an example of you using reality distortion. And remember ... before you type it up. Tell me something that didn't seem like everybody else is like, what the hell? And it actually occurred for you. And again, if you're typing, first type ... and then type what you're saying so I will know that you are present and answering what I'm saying. And if you don't have one, say that you don't have one. Because be honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. And as you're thinking and typing, I will say that go above and beyond is one of the 74 principles of real leadership in order for you to distort your reality above and beyond. So there are 3: set and maintain high standards, go above and beyond, and be the best. And a 4th one: hold yourself and others personally accountable. Because if you don't do those 4 things, you can't distort your reality. I used to think my height was a bad thing, but using reality distortion, I say if I was bigger, I wouldn't be able to fit inside of the furniture I build. That is actually correct. New Eurekan, good morning. What brings you to my live this morning? Do do do. I think it's interesting that all of the visitors this morning that have chosen to attempt to hijack the amygdala all have a letter for their profile photo. It's just a cop in me. No, you don't have anything else? New Eurekan? And wouldn't this be interesting, instead of people choosing to go to other people's lives and talk shit, that they actually were supportive? Why don't y'all start a different movement? Why don't y'all try that? Because this hijacked amygdala adrenaline rush seeking thing, then that way you would create oxytocin and it would last longer. And then you would stay in the executive function of your brain and you'd actually be using your brain. Why don't y'all try that? Have a meeting. So have a meeting with everybody and switch the narrative. Do some reality distortion. I think that would be the best thing to do. You found the opposite. So you thought pleasing others was the answer to happiness, and you found the opposite to be true. Yes, that is actually true. So if you feel fulfill yourself, because what I found, to add to what you're saying, is if you give people what you want in hopes that they'll give you what you need, you still end up needing what you need. So don't ever do that ever again. If you think about it on the flight, I haven't said this in a while, but the flight attendants, in the event of loss of cabin pressure, you put your oxygen mask on first and then assist others around you. And what you were doing, Kevin, was giving everybody your oxygen mask and hoping that you was still going to be able to survive off of whatever oxygen was left. So put your oxygen mask on first and then assist others around you to tell them, hey, put it like this, and then tighten it in the back, and then just take deep breaths, slow deep breaths, and calm the hell down, or you're going to run out of oxygen. Okay, cool. Norwegian, are you there? Going once? Going twice? No? Okay. Adios, amigas. Okay. What did you all learn this morning? They not like us. They not like us. Hopefully I don't get flagged for saying that twice. Do. I learned that the more popular your live stream becomes, that's when the negativity bias people show up. Because when I first started this, in the first week, there were no unwanted guests. But as the views started going up into the hundreds, now we have the visitors. Because one thing about trolls is they will not troll you if it's not popular. So they're not going to come if other people aren't there, because they actually need an audience. Redirect bad thoughts into good thoughts. Very good. Noah, what did you learn? And the other visitors, feel free to chime in on what you learned. Don't sit here hijacking my information and then taking it away without saying what you learned. This is an even exchange over here. So that's what I learned. Additionally, what I will say is my daughter and I had a confrontation yesterday because I was not in my most positive state. I was exhausted, and what triggered it for me was that damn sewing machine. Motherfucker tried to take me out yesterday. I promise you. I was sitting at that appointment like, yeah, I quit. And I quit about maybe twice a week. I tell her I hate your fucking business about 7 times a week, because we have 2 to 3 appointments a day. That's the reality of the situation. And it got heated. We had confrontation, ended up going to sleep, not speaking, and just like, we're going to address this tomorrow, because I was, and I don't want to say I was in my feelings. I'm exhausted from having to do everything from scratch. Everything that because of the amount of unaccountable people in the world, and my objective is always best, I never get to just walk into an idea situation and take it to the next level. It's always a shit show or it doesn't exist. So yesterday, I was at my wits' end and I was just expressing, I'm tired of having to create everything. And how did it occur? So I was on LinkedIn yesterday and I typed in neuroscience and all these groups popped up. One group I joined, they hadn't posted in months. Another couple groups, two have accepted me. And so where I am is, in theory, they call it neural leadership. And so neural leadership is supposed to take neuroscience and leadership and put it together and teach people how to use their brains to become better leaders. I'm in two groups right now, and that's not what's taking place. So I had extreme frustration because these people in this industry that were already there that have this information, I'm telling my daughter every time I go somewhere, I have to create what I need. Because she was saying, well, why aren't you as motivated as you were when you were working with other organizations? And I said, because the other organizations were already there, so I could use the concept of make it better, make it cheaper. But if you have to make it, you're tired after making it. And if you have to keep making it for 51 years, every time you get somewhere, you got to make it. You either got to unfuck it and make it better, or you have to make it. Then you don't have the same level of energy as if you had to just come in. And I said, it's the difference from me frying chicken at home versus going to get chicken from Cane's. It's easier to go get chicken from Cane's. My chicken tastes better, but it's easier to just go grab it, eat it, and call it a day than the 2 hours that it takes to prep it, cook it, and all of the sides that go along with it. So I'm just tired. And she told me, suck it up and drive on. I didn't like that. And so we are at Switzerland right now. We will pick this conversation back up today because for me, I'm saying this is challenging because there were people who were ahead of me that should have done the actual work so that I could come behind them and make it better, make it cheaper. But I just keep making it better or making it. And I said, there is no other Dr. Donna. So I don't get to walk into a situation where Dr. Donna came before me and now I can pick up where Dr. Donna left off. And then you said, Nola, I learned that even when you say you're going to quit, you never will. You talk about me. The rubber band practice you used caught me off guard. It's cool. I actually have a video for it, Kevin. If you want the video, email it to me and I will find it in my archives. I'm glad you said it. Just remembered I still have Cane's. And there she goes with food. There you have it. So my point is that even Dr. Donna sometimes sits and goes, yeah, fuck this. And even though I have that moment, I don't quit because she was telling me, well, just go back to corporate America then. Just go back and get a job. And I said, that's not what I'm saying. I'm on this side of this for 11 years. Right. And I understand that. Your point is that you build it best, so you doing it from the beginning means it's going to be right. And I was simply saying, I wish there were some other people who were building it best so I could go and gather what they built because I'm not a neuroscientist. I have a doctorate in organizational leadership. So I would like to go to the neuroscientists, grab their best, and bring it over here to give it to you. Because today is my 450th day, consecutive day live, and it's my 120th day talking about the brain. And so my daughter was saying, oh my goodness, I didn't know you was going to make it that long. I thought you was going to really have to go to the library and look at reference material by now. And that's where I'm on my way to. So I'm scouring the internet. I went to my local library. It's a big library, nothing in there. So it is the walls that I keep hitting every day, simply trying to understand the functionality of the brain so I could take that information and give it to you. And everything is so la foo-foo for it to be science that I'm just scouring in the morning. I'm 3 o'clock, I'm 3:45, 40 minutes just trying to get enough information to apply it to personal accountability to give it to you. So after 19 days, yesterday, I just clicked off save. Had a nice little blow up and I'm back again. But I tell you this so that you do not think that I just wake up and this information just falls onto my doggone dollar notebook from Target. That's not how it occurs because it isn't here. And so I was explaining to my daughter, I said, imagine if every time you went to go build something, you had to make the tool first and then go build the thing that you need to build. How exhausted would you be at the end of the day? And that's basically what's taking place for me. I'm working through this, but I thought, neuroscience is a higher level of education. This group is a learned group. I should just be able to go over here, grab that, and then tell you how it applies to you in personal accountability. That's not what's happening behind the scenes. That's not. So I was extremely frustrated yesterday because now I said, oh, I'll join these LinkedIn groups. And yeah, the math ain't mathing. The neuroscience ain't neural. I was like, wow, so it's called neural leadership. This is cool. Let me go. Okay, cool, got it. So, I mean, if everything you did, you had to start from scratch, you had to make the tools and then make it and then give it to people. Every now and then you would go, this is some bullshit. Somebody should be making things for me so I could just go grab it and give it to you and make it simpler. But if be the best is not your objective, then I'm not going to get the best. And then I'm going to have to repurpose it or just rebuild it or start from scratch. So sometimes that's a little mentally draining. And I think if we didn't have the sewing machine yesterday that just shocked the shit out of me, I probably would have been good. But that right there made me go, the hell? Okay. Like I said, my phone was at 100%. When we started the appointment, it was at 40% when we finished. Because every time I was like, okay, let me. And so that's that. So don't think for one second that when you come here, that this was simple for me to put together. I didn't just wait. There are no neuroscientists downstairs in my library and we don't have a small council meeting in the morning and then for any of it. So for anything that you see, I'm the marketing team, I'm the advertising team, I'm the content, the social media, the graphic designer, the content writer, sales, marketing, distribution. Here it is, right here. Das ist mich. It's me. Okay? So it is I. And I with a little bit of Thomas-Rodgers sprinkled in there. So everything that you see comes from research, development, studying, honing my skill set and my craft and learning and self-taught and all these other things. So I say that to say the other thing that you can't do is say, nothing, you don't understand. Is I'm over here trying. It's not going to work. It's not going to bode well for you to come up with some excuses and some excuse line. Is not going to work at all because of how much more I have to do because none of my stuff exists. The posts that you'll see today, some of them will exist, but the morning post, this live, the Real Leader Brain, the PA for today, the dailies, those things don't exist until I make them every day. It's like going to the bakery and getting your fresh donuts. Everything is fresh, hot, out of the oven, the hot donut sign, like Krispy Kremes. That's what's taking place. So if you find yourself procrastinating, if you find yourself making excuses, and you're here this morning, pay attention to what I'm saying. Because creme de la creme is hard. Above and beyond is challenging. Be the best and set and maintain high standards is way up here. To wake up every day and be at 100%, regardless of what else is taking place. I have an adult child and she has 2 businesses and everything else. And I have students in my program that I respond to every day. All of that is still taking place for me as well. But I'm not about to sit here and cry every day and talk about how overworked I am because I was chosen to do this. And this is my life's mission and I'm going to do it. Even Jesus questioned it right before he went on the cross and was like, hey, Daddy, you sure I got to go be rotisserie this morning? I was, God. All right, bet. Okay, let's do it. That's what happens because I am still human and the flesh is fallow and weak. Okay, anything else for me before we get out of here? And like I said, Kevin, if you want that video, it actually shows what to do. Let me know. And I will email it to you. Let me make that a highlight. Going once, twice, 3 times a lady, and I love you. Okay. All right. Well, you all go off. I have nothing if I don't have personal accountability. Okay, I am in much better spirits por la hoy today. Yes, das ist sehr gut. Muy bueno. And I have some canes left too, so I'm going to go ahead and have, no, I got to go eat my oatmeal first. Cholesterol. Got it. Okay, you all go off and do something amazing. Do not let the amygdala hijackers come and hijack you. Do not submit to negativity bias. Okay, you're going to have to think positive. You're going to have to do something different if you want a different result. Okay, do not be insane in the membrane. Okay, stay in your frontal lobes. Okay, what you doing? I'm staying in my frontal lobe. What you doing? I'm staying in my frontal lobe. Make a song. I'm staying in my frontal lobe. Hey, I'm staying in my frontal lobe. Got it? Okay, y'all go off and have a great rest of your day. I will be back. God, higher power, and the universe willing. Same time, same place, different t-shirt. Take care.